So kind people are my kind of people. And our good friends at Live and Learn in Guelph made these a few months ago for this Don't Bully Day. And I wanted to wear this today because kind people are my kind of people. And today, Pippi chooses to be kind to fix a problem. And so I wanted to wear this. And I know all of you are kind people. And this, can you see this bracelet? I've been wearing this for about, 2 years or something like that, a long time. My good friend Judy gave me this, and I wear it every day to remind myself to try to always be kind whenever I can. And I know that's what all of you choose to do. So kind people are our kind of people. Okay, and there is a reason I am wearing a Viking helmet, and the reason will become clear in a bit. So, welcome back to this funny old half nest while we move things around. I have my storytelling wish here. You can't really see it, but I've clipped it with this beautiful brooch. Here it is, being with us today. So are you kind people sitting comfortably? Have you got your comfy spot? Do you have your tea? My glasses are coming off. Let's pour some friendship tea. We'll have some little thimble tea to go with your tea. Some thimble tea. Cheers. There's some thimble tea for you and some thimble tea for me. And let's call this friendship tea. Now, what would be in friendship tea? Definitely some warm sunshine to heat it all up and mix it. Definitely some really kind listening ears. Definitely some hugs, some lots of love, some compassion. That means when you really can think about how somebody else is feeling, some compassion and some empathy. These are all words that are meaning we're thinking about how other people might be thinking and feeling, and honesty and fun and laughter and adventure. Wow, that's a lot of things in this tiny thimble of friendship tea. Okay, here we go. Cheers to friendship tea. So sweet. And we didn't even need honey in it. Oh, thank you for that. And I have a friendship cookie that my lovely friend next door, Sandy, dropped off in a bag on the door today. Thank you, Sandy. Cheers. She does not have a computer, so she won't know that I just said thank you to her. So I'm blowing the thanks out of the window into her window. Have a big, such good cookies. Glasses. Sadie across the street, thank you. If you're watching, last week you dropped off some cookies. We are the luckiest family for people dropping off good food. I have not been defeated by these glasses yet. So, we have everything we need. And some hugs and some hugs and some hugs for our day. Let's blow our wishes. Wishes and hugs for everyone around the world who really would like to have a hug and a wish. That's for you. Oh, yes, magic mirror. Woo, I know, it's a little bit frightening. It's Viking. It's a frightening Viking. Oh, that's a good word. Good words. Okay, frightening Viking. Let's get on with our story. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I think we've got everything covered. So, where were we? Pippi had thought she could fly, and she had jumped off the rock, and she had not flapped enough, so kaboof, thud, she thudded to the ground. So they are out on the picnic. Pippi learns she cannot fly because she's just a human. And then what happens? At that moment, the children noticed that Mr. Nielsen had gone missing. He had completely disappeared. He had evidently gone off on a little expedition of his own. They remembered they had last seen him contentedly chewing the picnic basket to pieces. And during Pippi's flying experiment, they had forgotten all about him, and now he was gone. Pippi jumped up into the air with such ferocity, that's a great word, that her shoe came flying off and landed in a deep pool of water. Oh no, where is that Mr. Nielsen? You know, you should never take monkeys anywhere with you when you go out. Mr. Nielsen, she called, and then she had to wade into the pool to get her shoe, and the water came right up to her waist. So she said, well, I may as well take advantage of this situation and wash my hair while I'm here. And she ducked her head into the water and scrubbed around with all the pondweed until bubbles were coming out of her hair. Then she came out of the water covered in pondweed and tangles, and she quickly put her braids back in, including the weeds, and she said, there now, I've saved myself a visit to the hairdresser, don't you know? And she stepped out of the pool and she put on her shoe that she had found, and off they went to hunt for Mr. Nielsen. And as they walked along, Pippi said, listen to that. See how it squishes when I walk? It says, cluff, 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 in my wet dress, cluff, 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 and squish, squish, squish in my shoes. Isn't that fun? She said to Tommy and Annika. Cluff, 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 squish, squish, squish. Oh, such jolly fun. And Tommy and Annika were a little concerned because she was so grubby now, covered in pondweed and mud and soaking, and they were not going to be getting dirty. Remember, they tried to keep clean, those two. So they tried to just keep a little bit away from her so they didn't get mucky. Oh, said Pippi, Mr. Nielsen certainly can be exasperating. Gosh, uh-oh, I think she's about to tell a tall tale. There was that time when in Arabia, he ran away from me just like this, and he got a job as a servant to an elderly widow where he would cook her the finest sweet buns in all the land. Tommy and Annika just looked at her out of the side of their eyes, and they thought, there she is, telling a tall tale. And Pippi marched on ahead looking for Mr. Nielsen. So Tommy suggested they all go in 3 different directions. And at first, Annika was a little afraid. But they said, it's okay, Annika. You go over there, and I'll go over here, and you go over here. And then if you feel nervous, you just give a little whistle, and we'll come and find you. So Annika was fine with that, and off they went. Now, Tommy went through a field. And Mr. Nielsen, he did not find. but he did find something else. What do you think I'm wearing that might belong to something that lives in a field? Yes, a giant, enormous bull. Oh, goodness me. And the bull did not like Tommy. In fact, the bull did not like anybody in his field. So he put his head down. I might lose my glasses. He put his head down and he charged towards Tommy. And Tommy let out a shriek. Woo! I did lose my glasses. Tommy let out a giant shriek. Oh no! And the bull was chasing after Tommy. And Tommy was running and leaping over boulders, and there were no trees for him to climb into, and he was running and running, and the bull was charging and charging and charging, and finally Pippi heard the shrieking, and Annika also. They came running to the gate, and there they stood on the gate, watching poor Tommy running around and around the field with the bull. I don't think they make that noise. That sounded like an angry little sausage dog. Something like that. Sounds like I have bellyache. So there they are, running around and around and around the field. And, I've lost my place. What happened? And just as the bull was about to reach Tommy and give him a nudge with his nose, for I don't think this bull would use its horns, just his nose, because actually deep down he's a very kind bull and it would not try to hurt a child, just give it a little scare. So just as the bull was about to reach Tommy, he jumped over a tree stump and ducked underneath. And Pippi said, "Oh, that silly bull. That silly bull. He ought to know he cannot act like that. That's not very kind. That bull is not our kind of people kind." So she said, "Annika, you stay on this gate. Tommy, you stay behind that stump. I'm going to have a word with this bull and ask him to have some manners in his field. And besides, he'll get Tommy's white suit all dirty." So she climbed over the fence, the gate, and she ran up to the bull and she went on the bull's rump. "Excuse me, Mr. Bull," said Pippi. "Forgive me for breaking up the party," she said. And since she had given the bull a little poke on the behind, the bull turned around and saw a new child to chase. But Pippi was not the least bit afraid. She stood there with her hands on her hips and she looked the bull right in the eyes and she said, "As I was saying, forgive me for breaking up your funny little party with my friend Tommy. I would like to have a word with you because that was not a very kind thing to do to my friend." And the bull came right up to Pippi's face and started to breathe ferociously. Does that look like a bull? I'm afraid of my own self when I see myself do that. And Pippi said, "Oh, you're tickling me. Oh, you're tickling me. Oh, stop it. You can't imagine how ticklish I am. Oh, stop tickling me, bull, or I'll die laughing." But the bull did not stop breathing on Pippi, for he was getting quite agitated. And at last Pippi said, "Come on, Bull, let's be friends. How about I jump up on your back and you give me a little ride around the field? It will be much more fun than you running around and being all grumpy with us, and then I promise you that we will leave your field quietly." Well, the bull had never been spoken to nicely before. The bull had only had people yelling at it and shaking their fists in the air because they were afraid. The bull had just lived in a field where nobody in particular had bothered to speak nicely to it, and the bull stopped and thought and listened to this strange pig-tailed little girl in his field. And he said, well, I don't know if he actually spoke because he's a bull and I don't think he can actually speak, but he used his face and his eyes. So he stopped breathing ferociously. He stood back a little bit and then he lowered down on his front legs so that Pippi could climb onto his back. And she said, "Thank you so much, my new friend Bull. Let's have a little gallop around this field. I'm not very heavy, so I won't hurt you. And I know how to ride bareback because of my horse that lives on the porch. So we'll just do one gallop around the field and then jolly good, off we'll go." So the bull very kindly galloped around and did a few little jumps because that made Pippi laugh. And once they'd done a few little rounds, the bull stopped and he was tired. So Pippi said, "Oh, dear friend Bull, thank you very much. I will climb gently off your back while you have a lovely nap in your beautiful I cannot say that. In your beautiful field, and we will be on our way. We're sorry to disturb you." And the bull, I'm going to give up on the glasses. The bull bowed his head in a most appreciative way and then laid down and had a big bullish sleep in the beautiful daisies that grew in the beautiful field. And so then Pippi and Tommy and Annika tiptoed out of the field so as not to wake up their new friend the bull in search of Mr. Nielsen. And let's see if they found him, because I've forgotten what page we're on. There they are, tiptoeing out of the field. And then, there, just on the other side of the gate, there was Mr. Nielsen, up in a pine tree, looking very lonely and lost. And Pippi said, "Mr. Nielsen, what are you doing up there? Come on down. Oh, you missed the most jolly ride on our new friend the bull's back. Come on down. We've missed you, Mr. Nielsen." And he skipped down from the pine and hopped on Pippi's shoulder, and he waved his little straw hat in the air as he always did when he was very, very happy. And there Pippi stroked his back and said, "I missed you, Mr. Nielsen. I'm glad that you're safe. Let's all walk home together and have some nice biscuits." And as they strolled home, Pippi's dress went cluff, cluff, and her shoes went squish, squish. And Tommy and Annika thought they had had the most wonderful day in spite of the bull, even though now they knew how to make friends with the bull. And now they were not afraid. And they sang songs all the way home with Pippi's shoes going squish, 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 and her dress going cluff, cluff, cluff. And that is the end of the story for today. So thank you for joining me in the nest, And we'll see you tomorrow.